Did an eye just appear on your return loss result? It's nothing to worry about. It's caused by something called the 3dB rule. Let me explain how it works. So indeed I have I next to return loss, and what that's telling me is the insertion loss for all 4 pairs never reached 3dB, and as a result the return loss measurement was not evaluated against the limit line. Let's hit the Enter key and the F3 key to take a look at the worst performing pair, pair 4-5. You'll notice that the entire limit line is black, indicating that at every frequency point the insertion loss for pair 4-5 never got to 3dB. If I hit the Exit key and go and look at the insertion loss for that pair 4-5, indeed we can see the insertion loss never reached 3dB. So the entire measurement was ignored. Now the 3dB rule is applied to all links. So let's go and look at another example. In this example here, we have our traditional tick mark next to return loss, but the 3dB rule did play a part in the result here. If I hit the Enter key and the F3 key to find the worst performing pair, pair 7-8, there's a couple of things that you'll notice. The first thing is the cursor is saying that at 248 MHz, that's the closest point to the limit line. Well, at the lower frequencies, that's the closest point to the limit line. Let's move the cursor and see if we can find a margin that's smaller than that 8.1 that was reported. I think it's somewhere down here. Yep, it's dropping. 5.8, 5.9, 5.8. So why didn't the DTX report 5.8 dB as our worst case margin? Well, because at 3 MHz, the insertion loss for pair 7-8 was less than 3 dB. And we know that because that part of the limit line is black. If you look carefully, the limit line changes from black to red. Let's move the cursor across to where it changes from black to red. I would say it's about there, 181 MHz. So what that's telling me is that less than 181 MHz, the insertion loss was less than 3 dB for this pair 7-8. Let's go and check that out. Remember, it's pair 7-8 we're interested in this occasion. We'll drop the cursor back to 181 MHz. And at 181 MHz, our insertion loss is 2.9 dB. If I go to 181.5 MHz, our insertion loss becomes 3 dB. Hence, our return loss measurement is only evaluated 181.5 MHz onwards for that particular pair. So again, if we go back to our return loss trace, 7-8, where the black line is, we don't evaluate the return loss. Where it turns red, that's where the insertion loss for this pair 7-8 is 3 dB or greater, and we make the evaluation. And that is defined in all of the major cabling standards.